Hello and welcome to episode 65 of Stitched in Sweden. I'm Maria and you can find me on Ravelry as M. Monska and on Instagram as Stitched in Sweden. I am once again returning from a, not frantic this time, but very warm bike ride. It is 27 degrees in Stockholm right now, 25 degrees in Celsius, 25 degrees Celsius, it was 27 earlier, and that is 77 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty much the warmest that it gets here. I wouldn't actually be surprised if it definitely is the warmest day of the year so far, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is the warmest day of the year. I hope it's not, because it's always nice to have a little heat in the summer, but so far it is. So I didn't have work today, and I spent the morning laying out and cutting some fabric for a new dress that I'm planning on wearing to my graduation, which will be next weekend? No, in 2 weeks, I think. It must be in 2 weekends. In 2 weekends, and I'll show you that. But I thought I would just drop by. Today is Friday afternoon, and I have a weekend full of sewing planned. Actually, mostly tonight I'm planning on sewing a lot because Thomas is away hanging out with some friends tonight, and I was not invited, but I didn't really want to be invited because I really sometimes enjoy having a stay home and sew evening by myself. So that is what I'm doing tonight, and tomorrow is Thomas's birthday. We will be doing some things with his family for the rest of the weekend, so it should be a fun weekend, and I think the weather should be nice, but maybe not as nice as today. So I thought that I would take today, and I spent the morning, like I said, laying out some fabric and sewing a bit, and then I needed a couple of things from the fabric store, so I originally wasn't planning on leaving the house today as part of my sewcation day, but I figured I can't waste this possibly once a year chance to be outside when it is hot, actually. So yeah, and now I'm just babbling. But since last time, there has been a little bit of knitting and quite a bit of sewing. I have purchased a few things, so I thought I would just share those with you. And actually start with the episode to ask if anybody has any suggestions for a new camera. I mentioned this at the very end of last week, and I don't think that was the best place to put my little call for suggestions. I am currently filming on my iPad mini, which is quite old now, actually, and it is starting to not behave with my computer, and just for various reasons I would like to upgrade to a better camera for filming. So if anybody has an idea for an affordable camera that is good for filming and taking pictures, ideally, I would really appreciate your input, as well as if you have any suggestions for a microphone. I know some people have mentioned it's been hard to hear me these past few episodes. That's because I previously have been recording with a lapel mic and it broke, and I don't want to replace it with another cheap lapel mic. I would rather just invest in a new microphone. But that being said, I think I'll start out with sharing some knitting with you that I have done since last time. I am still working on my Find Your Fade shawl, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and I'm approaching the end, but I'm sort of stalled, you could say. It's just as massive as it was last time. Oops. Here's the end, and basically it goes on and on and on. And now I am to the 6th color, which is Can't Take the Sky From Me from the Hey Sister Yarn Co. This is some Gregoria fibers. So is this. We have some Frida Fuchs here, and some more Gregoria fibers, and then finally some wool barn at the end. So it's really nice and squishy, and I need to decide on the last color, because now I'm at the point where I need to transition into the next and last color. And I originally had planned for this color to be the last one, but I just really think it's going to be too hard of a line. And I like how so far the rest of it has been pretty fadey, transitioning gradually from one color to the next. So I just haven't decided on that yet. So this has kind of been on hold, and I'm at the point of changing to the next color. The other project, which I started just the other night actually, once I got to the point that I need to decide on the 7th color for the Find Your Fade, is another Andrea Mowry pattern, and this is the Talia, I don't know how you say it, shawl, which is a sport weight shawl with kind of chevron motif. Let's see. This isn't the best color representation. It's a very dark forest green, and so far I am almost finished with the chevron portion. I am knitting this in a yarn which may look familiar to you. I have changed my mind about the Aspen Cardigan, which is a pattern from Michelle Wong. It's a beautiful cabled robe pattern actually that I was going to make into a cardigan, but I knit almost a whole sleeve and I just wasn't knitting it. So it's like, why should I waste this beautiful yarn, which I really like, and I have been wanting to knit this Thalia shawl, so I figured, you know, life is too short to knit something you don't want to, rip it out, start something new, and I just felt like I was forcing myself to work on it, and that just seems silly because you should just do what you want to do. So this is Quinson Co. Chickadee in the Boreal color, which is this, yeah, beautiful dark green. And I have quite a few skeins of this I got from my parents for Christmas this year. And I'm planning on making this shawl a little bit larger than the original pattern so that I can use up a little bit more of the yarn. But I think I will definitely have some left over, and I think this would make a really nice pair of mittens or a matching hat that could go with this shawl, or just, it doesn't have to be things that I wear together with it, but I could if I wanted to. And I just like this color. I think it looks nice on me. So yeah, that is what I'm working on. For this, I actually started with, I think the pattern calls for US size 6, if I remember right. And I usually find that I prefer a tighter gauge, or my knitting is looser than patterns call for, so I often go down one needle size and start out with that if I'm knitting something like a shawl, where I'm not going to knit a gauge swatch. If I'm knitting a sweater, I do knit a gauge swatch, and I usually start with one size needle smaller because I find that that for me is usually what makes a nice fabric for me and what is closest to the gauge that was intended by the pattern, by the designer. So for this one, I started with, I think, US size 5, and I knit just a tiny bit here with, right here, with 5, and I felt like this is too stiff, and so rather than ripping out and starting over, I just started with a 6 and did that for a little bit, and I decided this is still too stiff, and then I went up to a US size 8, which is what I'm currently using, and that is a 5mm needle. So that's actually 2 sizes larger than the pattern calls for, and that's really uncommon for me. But I think I just want this to be a nice kind of drapey shawl. The interesting thing for me is that Andrea Mowry knit this also in this yarn, Quince & Co. Chickadee, and she used size 6. So to me, I mean, of course people knit different, with different tensions, so who knows, but yeah. I wonder how hers is, because I think mine would have been too stiff if I had knit it on a size 6. So that's what I'm working on. It's going really quickly. I've just been knitting on that in the evenings. Thomas and I have been trying out a couple new series. Currently we are watching Rebellion, which is on Netflix. It's basically about the English and the Irish in the early 1900s. And it's okay. We finished watching Cable Girls, which is in Spanish, and we watched it with subtitles, but it is about kind of flapper era in Spain, and I thought it was really good. Plus they all have hair like me, so that's entertaining. Anyway, right now my hair is crazy because also it has been so humid the past 2 or 3 days here, and that just kind of makes my hair go crazy. So that's it for knitting, but I did receive a lovely package in the mail this week, which I will share with you, and you may have already seen on Instagram because I posted a picture of these 3 yarns that I received, which are from a new to me dyer who is Swedish, lives in Sweden, and that is really exciting because moving from the US to Sweden, I sort of felt like the hand-dyed yarn revival or movement or something, I don't know, was sort of lagging behind in Sweden. And there just aren't that many hand dyers who are, dyeing yarn in their kitchens, or, you know, small scale yarn dyers that are dyeing beautiful sock yarn mostly. But yes, this is an exception, and her yarn is really beautiful. So she contacted me a couple days ago and asked if I would be interested in checking out her yarn, and she said that she had some colors that she was dyeing up that she thought would suit me well, and I completely agree. So this is her card. Petra through Valborg is her logo, and on my Instagram I also have linked to her Instagram, so you can get to her information from there. But here's the yarn, and how beautiful is that? She created a little fade here. I don't actually know what color this is, but it is Twisted Merino, which is 100% superwash merino, 365 meters for 100 grams, and she is at Fru Valborg, which is Fruvalborg. So here's this beautiful yarn. It's a really lovely color. All of them are, but it's all, you know, in the same color family, obviously. So starting with this lighter one, it sort of has some really light kind of browns in there, more creams, but it definitely has a pink feel to it, especially next to the other ones. And there are some areas where there's little pink speckles in there, and it's just gorgeous. The next darkest has some brown, more brown speckles that kind of pick up some of the colors of the first one, and then it starts going more into some pink tones, which is lovely. And then finally the last one is a bit darker. And these are just gorgeous, and I'm very excited to knit with them. I think they will make something beautiful. And I think I sort of need to knit with them together because they go so well together. I mean, probably a shawl would be really nice. I don't know. Anybody have any ideas? Yeah, I think I could definitely see this as a shawl. It's not quite enough for a sweater for me, but if I had one other color, wouldn't be this one, but if I had another darker color on one end, then I could also make this probably into a sweater for me, but I don't know if I really want to be knitting sweaters right now. So I think I'm just going to enjoy this beautiful yarn for a little bit in its skein form. I definitely encourage you to check out her site. She ships worldwide, so you can get it from wherever. And yeah, thank you so much, Petra, for sending that beautiful yarn to me. I will let you guys know how it is when I knit with it, but I can't imagine that it would be... I mean, it's gorgeous. It's really beautiful. So, very excited to find a local-ish within Sweden hand dyer who is dyeing beautiful yarn, so yay. I think now I will go ahead and start talking about some sewing. For those of you who aren't interested in sewing, sorry, but that's how it is. I tend to drift away from knitting a little bit in the summer as it starts to get warmer, and go into more sewing. Sorry, I'm like just looking at my pretty fabrics here, which I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, so I tend to do more sewing in the summer and less knitting. That's just kind of a fact. And I have sort of almost denied that from myself for a little while, that I was kind of like, well, why am I not knitting? And then it's like, okay, it's summer. You just don't knit in the summer very often. That's just kind of a fact for me. And it's fine that other people like to knit year-round, but I just knit less in the summer. And I really enjoy sewing in the summer, and I sew less in the winter, so it kind of is a little trade-off, which is totally fine. So I have actually finished a couple of things. Maybe only two things. One thing. I definitely have finished one thing since the last time I recorded, which I just realized now has been crumpled up in my bag because I didn't eat it when I was biking, which was a lovely surprise, but now it's maybe a bit on the crinkled side, but that's okay. I also probably have threads all over my dress because I have been sewing, but anyway, this is the Blackwood Cardigan, which is a pattern from Helen's Closet, I think. And yeah, it's a little bit crinkly, but this is out of a gorgeous, wrinkly, but actually I do find that it stays really unwrinkled. Like, it stays really, yeah, not wrinkled, I don't know how to say that. In general, when I wear it throughout the day, it doesn't, like, the elbows don't get saggy or anything like that, which is just so irritating with some jersey fabrics, I think. This is called I think caprice or something. Capri? Some type of jersey, which is very soft and drapey. And let's just move my chair a little bit out of the way, and you can get a feeling for this. I decided to make the size small. Last time I showed you that I had made a light gray one, and I had made that in the size medium. This is a bit of a stretchier fabric, so I decided that I wanted it to be more fitted, and I thought the stretch factor would be fine for that. I think this is actually probably my correct size, yeah. I think it is my correct size. It's not supposed to close in the front, and I really like that about this, so yes. Threads. let's see, it goes down past my bottom, quite a long ways past my bottom. If my hands are totally flat, or straight down, it still is longer than them. So definitely a long cardigan, but I totally love this, and I've been wearing it all the time. I think I made it last week, and I wore it maybe 4 out of 5 days to work. Maybe I only wore it 3 days, but I definitely wore it at home the day that I didn't wear it at work. It's just a perfect layer, and it's so soft, and it's just a really easy thing to throw on, and it's a really easy thing to sew. So if you are looking to add some kind of staple pieces to your wardrobe, I would definitely recommend this pattern. I think when you're first trying to build up a handmade wardrobe, which I don't have by any means, but I do have a couple of things in my wardrobe which are handmade at this point. But when you're trying to build up a handmade wardrobe, I think it's somehow tempting to go for the sort of bold novelty prints, quilting cottons, and this kind of thing, which have, you know, fun patterns and prints on them. But for me anyway, when I look in my closet, that's not what I have in my closet. And one of kind of the key things, I think, maybe even just this year, that I have realized and sort of has helped me grow as a sewist is that I'm starting to pay more attention to what are the fabrics that the clothes that I enjoy wearing, ready-to-wear clothes that I enjoy wearing are made out of, and kind of looking at those fabrics, feeling how they are, looking at the fabric makeup, whatever, what the fabric content is, and paying attention to that when I'm in the fabric store as well, because I think the fabrics that my clothes that I like to wear are made out of aren't necessarily the fabrics that I'm drawn to directly in the store when I'm shopping for fabric. So I've been trying to be more aware of that and picking things that I think actually go with my style and what I'm comfortable wearing now, because even though I have kind of like an ideal self-image of what I want my style to be or what clothes I think that I want to wear, the truth is that I am comfortable wearing certain clothes and not other clothes as much, so it makes most sense to sew and then wear the clothes and in fabric that I'm most comfortable wearing. So that's kind of obvious, but it's also a little bit of a realization, I think. And so basically, if you are looking to add some staple pieces to your wardrobe, I can definitely recommend this pattern. Like I said, it's the Blackwood Cardigan. I think it's over there. I have it in my stack, but I'm not going to get it. It took me, after I cut out the fabric, it took me 2 hours to sew, and that was pretty slowly. I think each one will go faster. Like I said, this is the second one that I've sewn. And I have fabric for a black one, and I would definitely like to get some more of this fabric, which is this lovely drapey jersey. But I'm also trying to really sew what is in my fabric stash right now, because I have recently bought these fabrics, and most of them, and they're fabrics that I bought for a reason, and I liked them when I bought them, and I still like them right now. So I would like to sew them up into something while they're still fabrics that excite me. And so instead of going out and buying new fabrics, with the exception of the fabric that I bought today, which I'll show you and explain to you why in a little bit, not a little minute, I think it's just nice to sew with the fabric that you have. And even though right after I finished this I was like, oh, I have to go to the store tomorrow and buy more of this fabric so that I can make another one. And then I was like, wait a second, you really like this one, why don't you wear it a couple of times, make sure that you really love it, which now I know that I definitely love it. But like, I can just wait a little bit, and that's fine, and that fabric will still be there. I think it's a regular fabric that they carry. Now, maybe if there was like one color in particular that I must have, maybe you would want to buy it. But I just kind of wanted to slow down and make some of the fabric, make things out of the fabric that I had. So, that was a long story. But yeah, I'm going to take this off because it's actually warm, and I'm getting a little bit toasty. So this is my totally finished make for this time, and I have one other project which is almost finished, and I'm super excited about it, and I'll show it to you now, and then maybe I'll put it on so you can see how it is on. Now, this is the Eliza Lex dress, and it is a pattern by Hand London, and this lovely fabric comes from craftmeal.co.uk, and it's a jacquard or brocade. I'm not really sure what the difference is between those two, but you can see this is a fitted bodice with princess seams. It has a lower V back and an invisible zipper, and it has these, I think they're called box pleats, which I haven't fully, not going to press them, but I will press the dress more evenly because right now it's not totally, like sort of steaming a little bit. Because the part that I have still to finish on this dress is the hem, which I needed some bias tape, so that's one of the reasons I needed to go to the store today. Anyway, I'm so happy with how this dress came out. I made this for one of my friend's weddings that we are going to in August, and I think it's going to be perfect for a wedding guest dress. I lined it in I don't know what kind of lining this is. When you order from Craftmeal, you can say, send me a coordinating lining, and this is what they sent me, which is really, actually I really like the lining. I think linings that I've used before maybe have been too stiff. The bodice is fully lined, and I'll just give you a little peek on the inside because I'm just so happy with this dress, and part of the reason I'm really happy with it is because, first of all, it fits great, and second of all, it has really nice details that took a little bit of extra time but were totally worth it. So the bodice is fully lined, and it's understitched here along the edges so that, you know, you get this like nice crisp edge on the neckline and on the armholes. And then for finishing the zipper, I have a thread here, it's going to drive me insane. I need to go back. I only have my massive scissors, but also I love these scissors. For finishing the zipper, I used a little piece of bias tape, which is Liberty fabric. It doesn't really match, but I think it's cute anyway, and I was out of bias tape at that point, so I used that. The skirt seams use a Hong Kong binding, which is with bias tape. This is what it looks like, and this is the first time I've ever done that, and I just think it's so cool. And also the waistline between the bodice and the skirt has some just cream bias tape there too, to seal off that rough edge there, because I don't have a serger. If you had a serger, you could just serge that edge, and sometimes like overlocking, zigzagging over the edge works fine, which is what I've done on my next dress, but this fabric was really, really frayy. And actually the bottom is still, I trimmed it recently, so it's not so bad. Like, it was a million times worse than this. But yeah, it frays a lot. So I should have gone through and overlocked the whole thing in the beginning, but I didn't. And then it was like kind of just too late. And I was just like, okay, I'll deal with it when I get to that point. And so then I trimmed it, and I think it was a really good idea to seal it off with the bias tape, because I think it makes for a stronger, like more stable dress in the end, and I think it makes a really nice finish. So I'm just really pleased with this dress because like the pleats line up with the seams from the princess seams and everything, so I'm just so happy. So I'm gonna go try it on and I'll be right back. Ta-da! Here it is. And yeah, I just love it. Here's the back. So you can see, I think I need to iron this a little bit more. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to just make sure that it's kind of steamed into the position that I want to have it. There we go. Move you back a little bit so you can get more of a full view of how it is. But it's really well. This is the pattern that I made the bodice for, if you remember, a couple weeks ago. And I ended up not making any modifications to the back part because I did cut it with modifications, but then when I had it almost finished, I realized I don't think I needed the modifications. And I know my bra strap is showing, but I'm going to make sure to have the appropriate undergarments on for the wedding. But yeah, I'm just really happy with it. So this is it. And I'm planning on hemming it to just above my knee. Right now it is, yeah, my knee is there. So it's quite a bubble skirt, but it's kind of dramatic and I really like it. I like how it's smallest at my smallest point, and yeah, I think it will be a great summer wedding dress. The fabric is also, like, it feels like a more formal fabric because it's structured and has a little bit of sort of, I don't want to say shine because it's not shiny, but it just has like a nice finish to it that doesn't look like a cotton summer dress. So I think it works really well. And I do need to put one of those little hook and eye things on the top of the zipper, but I will do that because I got one at the store now, so I'll do that in a little bit. But here it is. So I'm going to change again because I'm still warm. So that is the Eliza Lex dress, and I'm so happy with the fit of it. I decided to use, actually I'm planning on using that bodice pattern for 2 other upcoming dresses that I have planned. One of them I've already started, and that will be hopefully what I will wear for graduation. This is the Eliza Lex bodice with a short sleeve, the short sleeve version, and I just remembered that I'm like in progress with this right now. My sleeves are not very well pressed because I really need a ham to be able to press the shoulders nicely. I have a pattern for a hem, and I think it would probably take me 10 minutes to sew it, but I haven't done it yet. So maybe I should do that tonight. I don't know. It's not going to happen. I had a really hard time getting these arms in. Actually, one of them was really difficult for some reason. I don't know why, but it was. So here's the top so far. And yeah, it's wrinkly because it's, you know, in progress. And this one is, the bodice is actually a little bit different in this pattern than in the sleeveless version. The original pattern of the Eliza Lex that came out like a couple years ago has been redone now, and it included an update to the shape of the bodice for the sleeved versions. There's a short sleeve and a long sleeve version. Because I think there was a problem with the sleeves always falling off the shoulders with how the back was, and that for some reason, I'm not really sure exactly how this works because I've never tried to make my own bodice pattern, but apparently the same bodice for a sleeveless dress doesn't work very well for a sleeved dress. I don't know. But they had a lot of problems with it, and now they have redone it, and the sleeveless one fits me perfectly. I didn't make a new muslin for the sleeved version, but I still have plenty of this fabric left that if I needed to redo it, which hopefully I wouldn't because that would just be a bummer, then I could. So this is a fabric that looks kind of like a denim chambray, but it's actually a wool suiting fabric, and I showed you this before. It was one of the fabrics that I got from fabworks.co.uk, and it's kind of bothering me how wrinkly it is right now, but it does press really nicely. I'm in progress dealing with the arms. I had to like take one arm out completely. It's still, there's a little pucker right there. It's just driving me crazy. So this was one of the first arms. Oh, I was just thinking, oh my gosh, was this the new one that I cut? But no, I think this was the first one I cut for one of the sides of the sleeve. And it just wasn't fitting into the armhole, and I think I must have done the armhole a little bit wrong on one of the sides because I just could not get it to fit in. It was super annoying. But now it's mostly fit in, and I think once I press it well with the ham that I will make in the future, it will be fine. This one is not fully lined, but it has a facing here, and I have zigzagged over the seams just with my normal sewing machine. So all the seams are nicely finished on the inside, but yeah. And it also has a facing in the back. And the thing is with this pattern, I think that the instructions are a little bit, not vague, but they're just a little bit sparse. Anyway, for me, who's a fairly new sewer, I would say. The sew-along for the Eliza Lex pattern from the By Hand London blog is excellent, but it really focuses on the sleeveless version. So if you want to make the sleeveless version, the sew-along is just amazing to follow, and they go through all the steps and it's super easy to follow, including like how to do it with the lining, which if you don't know how to do it with the lining, it could be a little bit tricky. But this one is like, with the short sleeve one, was really unclear to me because it said that you also should cut a lining, but I don't think a facing counts as a lining, but there was a pattern for a facing. So it's like, I don't know if you would have a facing and a lining. That seems excessive. I guess you could, but that just seems weird. So I don't really know. I decided I could just skip the lining and do the facing, especially because this fabric isn't fraying nearly as much as the other one was. So that it's really finishing fine when I do the zigzag over the edge of the raw edge. So I wasn't so worried about having it fully lined. And this is going to be a more casual dress, slightly more casual. So I just felt like it was fine not to be lined. Another reason why this dress, or another thing that makes this dress more casual is the skirt. Haven't cut it out yet or made it, but I'm planning on making a gathered skirt instead of the box pleats. And I think the box pleats are really nice, but they do make it somehow more structured and more formal. And I want this one to be a little bit more relaxed, that I'll wear for graduation, which is smart casual, and then, but it will also be a dress that I can wear like summer evening. This one also has a different back. The back is much higher on this one, and yeah, so I will give that a try. I think I will finish up the bodice. Actually, I'm like pretty much done with the bodice at this point, so I need to do the skirt, which I'll probably do tonight, and attach them, and then, yeah, I got a zipper while I was at the store, so I'll I'll be able to finish that up. The other dress that I am planning on making using the Eliza Lex pattern is going to be, well, possibly. It's planned to be, but I'm not going to be super upset if it doesn't work out for various reasons, but I think it will work out. My plan is to make a floor-length formal ball gown for Thomas's graduation, which will hopefully be in December this year. And his graduation is a much more fancy event than mine. It takes place at the, I guess, what is it, Stadshus, which is the Capitol building. And yeah, it's a formal event, so I thought this would be the perfect time to make a ball gown. So that's what I'm going to do. And conveniently, Thomas's mother was here. Actually, while my parents were visiting, she and Thomas's dad came by, and they had, yeah, we went out and on a walk and whatever with them, which was lovely. And she brought with her probably 4 or 5 meters of this intense blue silk, which is 100% Thai silk. I think she said that they went to Thailand in 1988 or 89, and she had bought this fabric to make herself a dress, and she never did. And so she thought that maybe I would like it. Honestly, it is a bit on the bright side. It's also been, you know, crinkled a little bit since it's been living in a bag for the last longer than my lifetime. But it's like 100% silk fabric that's never going to be used by anyone else, because she's not going to, like, she wouldn't use it now. So this is a perfect opportunity, I think, to try anyway, to make a dress, and if it comes out, great. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. And I think that I've been going back and forth a bit. To me, this color is really bright. It's actually showing up a bit brighter than it is in real life. Not quite as extreme. I don't know. It's pretty vibrant blue. It's, you know, this kind of silk which has like a bit of texture on it. This is another reason why I want a new camera. Okay, I can't really show you, but it's not like super flowy silk. It's like, oh, Dupion silk? Silk Dupion or something? It starts with a D. It's the name of this kind of silk, which is like more of a structured fabric. I'm planning on using this to, with the Eliza Lex Bodice from the sleeveless, strapless version. Sleeveless version, not strapless. And I'm planning to recreate a bodice that it's a one-shoulder dress with gathers on the shoulder, on the front anyway. I'm not sure about the back. I don't think I'll have them on the back. Just a little bit of gathers right here on the shoulder, and then I'll move the zipper to the side so it won't be down the back anymore. Have it be a one-shoulder dress with a little waistband, and then a full skirt. I mean, not full, but a floor-length skirt part of the dress. And I have not decided. I've been looking at some bridesmaids dresses online to get some sort of inspiration for this, because some of those dresses are in the same fabric. I haven't decided yet. I've seen both gathered skirts and ones that have more of a box pleat style skirt that in this fabric that look nice with that style dress. I was thinking I might actually use the tulip skirt pattern, which is pattern from Sew Over It that I made for my sister's graduation, which has some pleats in the front and then it has darts in the back, so it's smooth on the back. So I might use that for the skirt part, but I haven't decided yet, but that is in the future. But I thought I would just show you that because that's kind of in the works currently. So, okay, one more fabric that I have gotten since last time. I don't think I showed you this before. This is some rayon Rifle Paper Co. fabric that I actually had ordered and shipped to my parents' house, and they brought it while they came to visit me. And I think I have 2 meters of this, and I'm super excited about it because it's just so pretty. And I'm planning on using this to make the Odigen. I don't know why I can't say that. I have a really hard time pronouncing things like names of patterns. I think it's Odigen or Ogden. Ogden, maybe. Tank, which I have made one of in a similar fabric, which is like a green. I think I showed it to you, but I haven't showed you it on yet. So I'm planning on making one of those with this fabric. That's the plan. So really quick, I'll go through what I just picked up at the store because it's kind of exciting. And it's going to be a little crinkly. I got this from Tea Racket, which is one of my local fabric stores. And this is something which I have been planning and going back and forth for a long time because it's expensive and yeah, whatever. I bought 2 meters of silk in this lovely light pink color, and I'm going to make the ties for Thomas, a tie for Thomas, and for his 4 groomsmen, and probably for his nephew as well, out of this fabric. So exciting! I have collected so many samples of fabric that I could use for this, but I finally just decided, I need to make a decision, and this one's really nice, and it will be perfect. So that is another project which is upcoming, and I hope it goes well. I am also planning on having this Liberty fabric on the as the lining for the little bottom triangle part of the tie that will show if you flip up the tie. But yeah, I need to go back and look at some tie pattern and tutorials again before I start that. But yeah, I'm just really happy to have this. It's been a long time coming. I think it will make really nice ties. I hope it does. I hope they like them. So yeah, I really probably should fold that up really nicely so that it doesn't snag on anything. And I also got some Merchant & Mills extra fine pins, which were pricey, but I think it's like worth it because these are for extra fine fabric, and like if I'm going to basically buy super nice silk fabric and then I have my crappy pins, which I know they're crappy, that seems like a waste, and I don't want to risk having a snag happen from the pin, so I thought it was worth it to get some nice new pins as well. So that's that, and I got some other boring things as well. Not boring, but just normal things that you need when you go to the fabric store. So I got a zipper for my blue Eliza Lex dress. I know it's a gray zipper, but it's the one that was closest, and that the fabric kind of has a gray undertone to it. Then I got a navy zipper, which is also not the color that I wanted, for the blue silk dress, but it's an invisible zipper, and I'm planning on lining it with this navy blue lining. So yeah, I think it will work. Oh yeah, the other thing about the dress, which I totally forgot to mention, was with the blue silk dress, is that, so if it doesn't come out, like if the color is just too bright, then I thought, because I will have extra fabric left over, I could always do a little sample dyeing and possibly dye it into a nice midnight blue, which would be something that I would definitely be comfortable wearing. So I'll kind of just see and how that goes and play it by ear. But I think that's a good option anyway, if it turns out that the blue is just too bright, so we'll see. This is some bias tape, also going to be for my Eliza Lex dress, for finishing the zipper, and I'm planning on doing the same zipper finishing for the silk dress. A little bit of extra cream bias tape because I ran out, and I want to use this to finish off the hem of my first Eliza Lex, the yellow one that I showed you. And then finally I have some pink satin ribbon which matches the tie fabric perfectly actually, and I'm planning to, I have so much stuff to do really, but I would really like to make the dresses for the 2 flower girls that we will have at our wedding. So I'm planning that a little bit on the side, but I'll talk more about that next time. But I thought that these would be the perfect waist ties for them, for their dresses. So then it will tie in with the boys' ties, and I think it will be good. So anyway, I think that is all for now. I'm going to enjoy the rest of the evening to myself. Of course, I love it when Thomas is here with me to spend the evening, but it is always nice to have a uninterrupted sewing evening. So I'm planning on putting on some podcasts or listening to the radio and just sewing to my heart's content. Until next time, happy knitting and happy sewing. Bye!